Good morning, everybody. Today, very special yung ating Sunday because what we have here is Christian, Coach Christian.
Good
Christian
morning.
is like my younger brother. Kapatid siya actually ni admin siya. So, nakita ko siya noon nung maliit na maliit pa siya at ngayon sobrang laki na niya. And he is still going to be our baby boy. Wala siyang magagawa. Para namin siyang baby boy forever kahit pa sobrang big boy na siya ngayon. And he is about to go to work. He is a gym coach. Say hi.
Hi.
Hi. And then, at the same time, side niya lang yung pagiging gym coach. He is actually a crew sa cruise ship. So, okay? So, ano na ba? Aalis ka na in 2 days time.
I'm 2 days.
And dito, since sa aming unit is naka-low carb kami and alam niyang nagla-life without rice kami, he is also curious kung paano ito simulan. So, I thought, why not? Kung ano yung mga questions niya as newbie, as someone na wala talagang idea into how to start a life without rice, low carb, and fasting, tingnan natin kung masasagot natin yung kanyang mga tanong. So, ano yung mga questions mo when it comes to starting low carb?
For example, Doc, sa barko kasi may kami mga mashed potato.
Okay. So, you are sure na parang kung pwede, kukunin mo na yung rice. Pero, parang ano yung isa-substitute mo?
Yung yung mga gulay.
Yung mga gulay. So, your question is, if okay ba yung mashed potato?
Opo.
Okay. So, yung mashed potato, actually, isa rin siyang katumbas ng rice. Yung ating group, no, na Life Without Rice, we are removing rice. Kasi nga, akala natin before, yung masama lang sa katawan natin is sugar, di ba? As a gym coach, you always advise that, na avoid sugar, avoid sweets. Pero, hindi natin ina-avoid yung rice generally kasi akala natin doon tayo huhugot ng lakas. But what we don't know is that if we really want to lower down our glucose in the body, kailangan din natin kunin yung other source of glucose na hindi lang matatamis. So, yung rice, it is a form of starch. Okay? So, ang ating carbohydrates, meron siyang complex and simple carbohydrates. Yung glucose, yun yung simple carbohydrates. Yung starch naman, it's a complex carbohydrates. Yun yung sabi ko, kung sa pera, yung glucose, coins. Kung ang starch, eto yung papel. Okay? And then, meron ding other forms of carbohydrates na complex like fiber. Yung fiber, hindi yun maiko-convert into energy. But it's just going to go to your system and it will pass out the same. So, hindi siya source of energy. So, that's why hindi siya magiging source ng glucose. Pero yung starch kapag ito ay na-broken down, ito ay magiging glucose ba din. So it will be converted into glucose na para ka na rin nag-asukal. Hindi ka na nag-asukal sa coffee mo, di ba?
Hindi.
Nakita ko kanina you took your morning coffee without sugar, black. So I'm so happy and I'm so proud because that is really one of the things that you can really start to appreciate in low carb and fasting. Na pwede kang mag-fasting, pwede kang mag-low carb, na yung kape mo is actually just plain black coffee. Walang sugar, walang cream, and I'm happy na nandyan ka na. So, you are really not very used to sweets na. Hindi ka na rin ganun kasanay sa tamis. Hindi ka na yung parang naghahanap talaga.
Naano ko na ngayon, hindi na ako nagtatamis.
Wow, that's good. So, actually, you are already 50% successful. Kasi yung mga tao mostly, kapag nagsistart sila ng life without rice, ng low carb, they are struggling with two things, the sweets and also the other form of carbohydrates na hindi matamis pero equally addictive. And it's actually the rice or the starch. So, yung rice, nawawala na. And your question is perfect, potato. So potato is also a form of starch. So potato is still made up of fibers and meron siya mga vitamins, minerals, but mataas din ito sa starch. So yung starch, kailangan pababain natin. One ganito lang, isang maliit na potato, yung katumbas na niyan para ng isang sliced bread. Yung katumbas na niya ng isang sliced bread, alam mo ba kung ihalin tulad natin in sugar, in white sugar, alam mo ba anong katumbas nun? 4 to 5 teaspoons of white sugar.
Ganun pala.
So, akala natin, no, na umiiwas na tayo sa matatamis. Akala natin wala na tayong sugar. But actually, that is still very, very high in glucose, yung tawag nating net carbohydrates. That's why if you want to start a life without rice, it's not just the rice that you want to lower down, but also the carbohydrates na mataas sa starch, because starch and glucose generally, eventually, pareho pa rin yung impact nila when it comes to insulin sa ating katawan, when it comes sa kanyang effect when it comes to pagtaas ng blood sugar na sinimulan ng lahat. So it's good thing that you are fond of exercising, di ba? You are very physically active. Pero, meron ka paling gustong i-improve sa body mo? Like, anong gusto mong ma-reach pa?
Yung ano ko dito kasi minsan
gusto mo lumabas yung abs.
Yung abs.
Meron naman talagang abs si Christian. If you will look at his page, no, he joins, ano nga yun, yung mga...
men's physique.
Yung parang, ano yun, parang siyang modeling, or parang, ano ba yun? Parang siyang pageant siya for males na mga very physically fit talaga. Men's physique.
Men's physique.
Men's physique. So, nakita niyo dyan, sobrang amazing si Christian. Hindi ako makapaniwala na siya lang yung baby brother namin. High school pa lang kami. You were in elementary that time siguro. No, na ngayon, ganito na. And I'm so happy that you are starting to be open about it. So, if hindi ka na makakakain ng rice at ng potato, what do you think ang pwede mong i-replace?
Oatmeal, no?
Oatmeal. Yun yung isang question din, no? Yes. So,
oatmeal.
As you can see, si admin siya, yung ate mo, si Inday, pag sabi mo pala ng oatmeal, nasira talaga agad yung mukha niya, because we already know that oatmeal is actually, again, it is still starch. It is still carbohydrates. Yes, mataas siya sa fiber, pero equally or even higher is the starch content ng oatmeal. So oatmeal is still a no-no when it comes to low carb. So if you will say na, how about, sabi nila na healthy ito and you can live with oatmeal, somewhat it is a little better than white rice. So for example, kung ang sugar na nasa white rice, for example, meron niyang tawag nating GI or glucose index. So 100 is pure glucose. Kung iinom ka ng isang pure glucose, 100 yung GI niyan, yung glucose index niyan. Pero when it comes to other, glycemic index rather. So when it comes to other food like white rice, for example, yung white rice, yung score niya is around 73. Okay? So makakapagpataas siya ng inyong blood sugar 73 as compared to pure glucose. And how about brown rice or red rice? Yung brown rice, red rice, nasa 69 or 70. So actually, konting-konti lang. And if you look at oatmeal, alam mo kung nasan yung oatmeal? Nasa 60, 65. So actually, hindi siya ganun kalaki when it comes to improvement. That's why oatmeal is still considered as high carb. Mataas pa rin siya sa carbohydrates. And what we want to replace when it comes to parang replacement natin sa kanin, pamalit natin, are those na merong glycemic index na kung pwede pa nga lang less than 10 or almost negligible. So, pwede bang kumain ng food na carbohydrates na less than 10 yung glycemic index? Actually, yes. These are the vegetables na halos hindi na nila nilalagyan ng glycemic index because it's really, really low. So, these are green leafy vegetables. So, lettuce, petchay, and cabbage, kahit mga talbos na po spinach. Okay? Meron ding mga mustard, meron ding kangkong. And of course, if sa barko, di ba, naka-buffet naman kayo. Actually, wala kang problema because for others, they will think ano na lang yung kakainin, medyo mahirap maghanap. But actually, with buffet, especially na abroad naman based yung work ninyo, hindi talaga sila ganun ka-dependent on rice, di ba? I think they are just serving rice because of Filipinos.
Because Filipino.
Yung mga Pinoy lang talaga naghahanap, di ba? But if you look at other mga races, hindi naman sila dependent on rice. The problem is, dependent sila on other carbohydrates. So, kung medyo nasa, for example, mga Indian, mga Pakistani, mga chapati, mga flatbreads, Indonesian, mga ganun din, or mga breads na parang mga French bread or other forms of bread, and potato nga, yun yung pinaka-staple nila, or the noodles. So, all of those are actually still carbohydrates. So, mataas pa rin sila. So, it's not okay when it comes to low carb. So, hindi ko sinasabi na magsasabi yung iba na hindi ito okay para sa lahat. I am saying it's not okay when you want to do low carb. And Why do we want to start low carb in the first place? This is the mindset that I want you to have. The mindset when it comes to low carb is knowing why do you want to have it in the first place? Why do you want to practice it? And for us, we've seen na sa lahat ng diet, sa kahit ano pang diet, it's only low carb that can really improve your health na hindi lang sa physique, hindi lang sa pangangatawan. Marami nagsisimulang ng low carb. I think a lot of us started low carb just to lose weight para lang mawala yung tawa. Kasi especially na we were young, bata pa tayo, we don't have really illness na marami talaga, na kailangan talaga i-battle. So mostly the motivation first is just physical appearance. And then later on, we find out that physical appearance pala is actually just the side effect. Side effect lang siya of good health. So it's really being healthy on the inside and then it will just glow on the outside eventually. And then, kung merong mga nagsasabi na yung mindset kasi natin minsan yung perfect body is yung Victoria's Secret model o di kaya yon mga Arnold Schwarzenegger. Pero sa totoo lang, our body is not minding kung ano yung inyong physical appearance. It will just come out depending on what you eat, and what you eat will fuel your body to show what it will have. And for those naman na matagal lang sa low carb at nagsasabing hindi pa rin sila nagiging Victoria's Secret model, hindi pa rin sila nagiging Arnold Schwarzenegger. So, all of those, kasi you are healing from the inside. Yung importante muna sa loob natin, we no longer have inflammation. You already have your blood work up. Tapos na, so far so good, wala namang problema, perfect lahat. Wow, very good. So, it's so nice kasi nga, bata ka pa, and then you are also physically active. And even if you are eating rice, you are no longer eating rice and soft drinks and sweets and ganun, di ba? You already tried to limit it. So, when it comes to starting your low carb lifestyle, you have to know your reason. So, as for me, for example, it's more on health optimization. Ini-improve yung health and at the same time, prevention of illness. Kasi kahit bata pa tayo, we wouldn't know kung kailan na magsisimula talaga na magkakaroon na tayo ng metabolic problems. And the ones closest to us, si Admin Cha, ilang gamot na nawala sa iyo when you started low carb? 11 medicines for hypertension, for diabetes, for asthma, for allergies, fatty liver, PCOS, may PCOS pa. So, all of those, meron siya ininom na 11 na gamot since 25 years old.
23.
Since 23 years old. So, hindi ibig sabihin na when you are young, you are already excused from illness. And you tried to stay healthy then before, di ba? Although we are eating, because nobody really told us before na ganon talaga ka-direct yung effect ng mga pagkain, ng hindi tamang pagkain when it comes to our body. You've been eating a lot of vegetables before, di ba?
No soft drinks.
No soft drinks, only vegetables. Hindi ka rin ganon kamihilig sa sweets before. Not so much. Pero ano pala, saan pala tayo nagsusobra? Rice talaga. So,
Doc, yung Coke Zero, mga ganyan.
Coke Zero. So,
Pepsi Max.
yes, so those are very good points. Kasi para sa iba na very used to drinking soft drinks, kailangan talaga naghahanap sila. So, yung mga zero, Coke Zero, Pepsi Max, and other diet sodas, usually wala silang sugar. So, wala silang glucose, but what they have are alternative sweeteners. Yung walang sugar, pero it is using chemicals. Meron namang parang somewhat acceptable kind of sweeteners like stevia, allulose, monk fruit, erythritol. But even those are still in our caution list because bakit sila nasa caution list? Kahit kasi hindi sila nakakapagpataas ng iyong blood sugar, but these chemicals are not natural. You will tend to have cravings, you will tend to have triggers na the more you eat it, the more you consume it, the more you will crave for other foods na hindi natural for you. So pwede siyang makatrigger ng unhealthy habit, unhealthy eating.
Kasi hahanapin mo pa rin eh.
Hahanapin mo. So that's why you really have to try to avoid it as much as you can because kung gusto mo talaga na mag-start ng eating right and eating healthy. And what we mean by eating right, yung real food talaga. Yung ikaw talaga yung luluto, ikaw yung mag-prepare or take them as fresh as possible. Because when you consume these processed foods, hindi mo alam, you will no longer appreciate the real food. Like, for example, yung pinaka-ano ko dyan, yung lettuce. Before, nung hindi ako sanay kumain ng vegetables at hindi rin ako nagla-life without rice at parati ko akong kumain ng mga processed foods, yung lettuce, yung feeling ko sa kanya, mapait lang siya. It's just mapait. But you know, the moment na nag-start na kaming mag-remove ng sugar, wala nang masyadong mga processed foods, I can now appreciate lettuce na matamis pala siya. Meron palang tamis yung lettuce at hindi ko yan ma-appreciate before. Even the fruits in low carb na yung allowed lang sa atin is the low carb ones like avocado and strawberries and the other berries. And I remember before starting low carb, hindi rin ako mahilig sa strawberries. Like the strawberries, parang feeling ko para siyang maasim. Pero now, that hindi na kami kumakain ng mga matatamis, especially the banana, the mango, kasi sobrang tamis yun eh.
Ano yung banana
Sobrang
pala,
taas. Yes, isa din yan sa pinaka-importanting malaman sa mga nagsisimula mag-low carb, the presence of fruits. Kasi, what do you think of fruits whenever you think about fruits? Ano yung maiisip mo? Diba? Masabi, parang healthy. Eto talaga yung pinaka... Diba? Healthy yung fruits. But, that is one of the major mindset na kailangan natin i-improve if you want to start low carb. Why? Because fruits, di ba, napag-usapan natin yung complex carbohydrates and simple carbohydrates. So yung fruits actually are mostly composed of just simple carbohydrates. So hindi lang siya glucose but also fructose. And I think fructose, isa siya sa pinaka-kailangan natin iwasan of everything.
Ano po yung fructose?
Fructose is a kind of sugar na nasa natural siya sa fruits. So, kung yung asukal is actually not just about ang sugar. Sugar alone, like the sucrose, yung kanyang chemical compound, combination yan ng glucose plus fructose. So, in chemical terms, merong monosaccharide and disaccharide and polysaccharide. So, monosaccharide, one molecule, glucose. Another molecule would be fructose. So, isa din yan. Yung iba, galactose, lactose, yun naman yung sugar na nasa milk. So, when we talk about sugar na table sugar, it's actually composed of two monosaccharides. So, it's called disaccharide. So, it's a combination of glucose and fructose. So, the moment it comes in our body, since yung majority ng ating katawan, yung ginagamit niya as energy is glucose, di ba? Although we can also fuel from fatty acid and ketones, yung galing sa taba. Mas energy dense actually yun. Konting taba lang yung kakainin mo, like 1 tablespoon lang of fats, for example, yung equivalent na yan, parang nasa 3/4 rice na. Ganon kataas yung calories when it comes to energy ng mga matatabang pagkain. And also, so when it comes to fructose, di ba, yung other parts ng body natin, even if we are fueling on fatty acids and ketones, meron pa rin part ng ating katawan na mag-fuel on glucose. So, ano yung mangyayari sa fructose? Kasi nga, glucose and fructose siya, di ba? So actually, the fructose will not be used up unless you are fasting, unless you are doing calorie deficit, to which we are not also promoting. So actually, yung fructose na yun, pwede siya mag-build up sa liver mo.
Ayun pa yung pati-liver, Doc?
Yes, exactly. Kasi yung fructose, since you are also eating other things, it has lesser chances of being converted back to glucose. Kasi mas nakakapagod i-convert yung fructose into glucose. Pero excess glucose, sobrang glucose, it can be converted into fructose. Gets? So yung glucose, pwede maging fructose. Pero ang fructose, mahirap siyang gawing glucose. At alam mo kung anong ginagawa ng katawan natin sa fructose? Kino-convert niya ito sa triglycerides.
Ano naman yan, Doc?
Ang triglycerides, ito yung fats.
Yung fats.
Na pwede sana siyang gamitin din sa ating katawan as energy, but as long as you are eating rice, as long as you are eating potato, banana, oatmeal, honey, including honey, because honey is also composed of glucose and fructose, then hindi yan magagamit as energy. So yung mangyayari, triglycerides will build up. Ito yung bad cholesterol.
So it means minsan kasi, Doc, yung tea ko, nilagyan ko ng honey. Hindi pala.
As much as possible, if you want to get the benefits from honey, pwede, tea na lang alone. So that's why kami dito, sobrang dami naming tea, but we don't have any sweeteners here para sa honey namin. When we take honey, we just take honey as is. Okay? So, sa pagsisimula, I know mahirap, no? So parang feeling mo hindi ka talaga hindi ka magkakaroon ng energy, manghihina ka, especially if you are working, parang kulang yung energy mo. But for you to have the right mindset, you have to acknowledge na kailangan first 3 days, yun yung pinaka-immediate adjustment period.
Paano
Okay?
ba yan, Doc? I-direct ko stop, Doc, o step by step muna?
So,
Breakfast.
I'm happy na ngayon, at least wala ka ng sweets. So, we are just
sweets,
looking at your rice. So, two ways. Nasa sa'yo yan, depende sa'yo. It will depend actually on your personality then. So, if gusto mo, slowly but surely, so pwede. First, so alam mo lang, if you go slowly but surely, so yung transition mo, it will also be longer. Mas mataas din. So, for example, you dedicate 2 days na wala ka ng, may rice ka pa sa breakfast at sa lunch, pero sa dinner na wala. And then maybe after the third day, wala ka ng lunch. And then breakfast na lang. And then later, wala ka na rin breakfast. But you have to know that as long as meron ka pang kinakain, kahit isang rice lang, after 2 hours, gugutumin ka na yan. Because that's the effect of rice and glucose. Kasi kapag tumataas yung glucose mo, after tumaas ito, tataas din yung insulin mo, and that insulin will lower down your glucose. So kapag bumagsak yung glucose mo, hahabulin mo na naman ulit. Napatataasin mo na naman siya. That's why ginugutom ka naman ulit. But what happens when you are on life without rice and you are in low carb is yung glucose mo steady lang, para siyang hindi nawawala. Because your body will just compensate. Yung liver mo, gagawa siya ng sariling glucose. Kaya natin sinasabi na glucose is not essential. Kasi kaya nating gumawa ng sarili nating glucose sa ating katawan. Our body is capable of producing its own glucose. So, kaya niya. So, yung glucose natin, steady state lang. And every time bumaba ito, gagawa ng sariling glucose yung katawan mo. But if you are spiking your glucose at meron kang insulin, kapag bumagsak ito, hindi magko-compensate yung katawan mo to provide glucose. It will force your brain. It will force your brain to eat glucose. Kaya tayo nagugutom. So, my advice is, if you are going to start slowly but surely, after, for example, nasa 9th day ka na breakfast na lang yung meron kang rice, and then after 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, gutom ka na naman ulit. So, pwede kang kumain, but walang rice. So, every time you feel hungry, kumain ka lang, pero ulam lang. Unlimited naman yung ulam sa inyo. Itlog, chicken, isda. Itlog is very staple. Pwede ka lang magpa-hard-boiled egg o mag-sunny side up dyan, anytime. So, yung gutom natin, meron tayong immediate craving kapag gutom tayo, especially kung sanay ka sa kanin. Kanin agad yung hahanapin mo. But actually, yung gutom natin, hindi siya specific. Actually, yung gutom natin, hindi yan choosy. Feeling lang natin, gusto natin ganitong pagkain. So, if ever you are parang specific sa gusto mo, that's actually just mental craving. Nasa utak lang yan.
Nasa utak.
Because nutritional hunger, kahit anong kainin mo, tatanggapin niya yan. So, that is what will happen right now. So, the moment na magugutom ka because you are now transitioning sa wala ka ng rice, you try to eat but no carbohydrates. And you will see na yung gutom mo, ay okay lang din naman pala na wala ng rice. And those are the things that I want you to experience. Because after a while, if you do it, let's say 2 weeks, even up to a month, huwag kayong magmadali, especially if buong buhay nyo na kumain kayo ng rice, hindi nyo kailangan magmadali, hindi nyo kailangan mag-suffer the whole time so that yung transition niyo mas maganda. And when your transition is also slowly pero nakaka-adjust kayo ng mabuti, you will also have better chances of adhering to this lifestyle. Mas sustainable, mas magiging maganda, and we are hoping na by the time na bumalik ka dito, gwapong-gwapo pa din, and then macho-macho pa din, at lumalabas na yung abs. And most importantly, you are feeling better than ever. Because when exercise, di ba, you experience this somewhat, your high after you exercise, di parang taas-taas ng energy, sobrang ganda sa feeling. That level of height, no, yung elated feeling, yung ganda na feeling, that is actually what we are feeling the whole day, even if we are not exercising. And that is when you are fueling on your own body fats or the fats from the food, and you are making your own glucose. So, wag kang matakot na mawala yung muscles mo. Because what we posted a while ago, the triathletes, the Brian Castillo and Arky Celso na mga triathletes, triathlon, na finish nila yung Ironman, they even grew their muscles when they started low carb. Yung importante lang naman when it comes to muscles is you eat proteins and you do exercise. And I think you don't have problem with exercise.
So far wala.
So far, wala, di ba? Very disciplined. Goals namin yung mindset ni Christian when it comes to exercise. But right now, we are focusing more on our food intake for better health. So, para sa mga nagsisimulang mag-low carb, you will see, ikaw mismo kung wala ka pang fasting, kaya ang sabi mo, pagdating mo pa kanina, naka-breakfast ka na ng anong oras? 6 a.m.?
6 a.m.
6 a.m. naka-breakfast na. Hindi ko na talaga ma-imagine yung sarili kong kumakain ng 6 a.m. Parang sobrang hirap yan imagine because of course, we are already going 4 years na hindi na nag-breakfast that early. Wala na tayong emotional attachment when it comes to eating breakfast early. But right now, as you start sa pagsisimula mo, you can focus on real foods. Wala mo ng fasting. So, kain ka lang. Sabay ka sa breakfast, morning snacks, lunch, afternoon snacks, dinner kung meron pa. Pero you try to stick to low carb. Kahit 2 weeks lang, stick to the safe list, yung ating low carb foods. And then you will see na by maybe second week, depending on your adaptation, yung iba nga, 3 days lang, nakaka-adjust na agad. Or iba, it might take longer, 1 month or 2 months of adaptation. Makikita mo na pagising mo sa umaga na usually kumakain ka ng 6 a.m., bigla na lang, hindi ka nabutong. And don't be surprised, don't be afraid. Hindi kailangan mag-effort na hindi ka nagutom at kakain ka talaga. No, you don't need to force yourself kasi the moment na hindi ka na naghahanap ng pagkain, that's a signal from your body that you're already on a parang appetite correction. You will now eat according to your nutritional needs. Kasi when we are always fueling on carbs, yung ating body, parang nalilito siya. You actually have a lot of food sa katawan mo in the form of fats. Na nagkakaroon ng fatty liver, mataas na triglycerides, mataas na blood sugar. But your body is not capable of utilizing those. Hindi niya ito nagagamit. So, kahit pa marami kang stock na pagkain sa katawan mo, you are still going to eat more and more and more. You are going to hoard even more. And that is, you are already appetite na nasira na yung appetite mo. So with low carb, 2 weeks of low carb is your best way to transition into a fasting lifestyle. At kapag nagsimula ka na ng fasting lifestyle, it is going to be a very rewarding lifestyle. Kahit pa libre yung pagkain sa barko, you no longer need to worry about that. And even if especially kung libre, wala ka ng problema sa gastos, but what you want more is hindi ka mo problema sa sarili mo in the future. Because even if those foods are free, are libre, pero if you keep on putting those in your body, it can just make you sick eventually. At yun, ikaw nagagastos nun, kahit may insurance ka pa. So we want a healthy lifestyle that is sustainable. Hindi lang para sa mga bata pa, but even for those who are already elderly, kahit sa mga matatanda na. And I think meron kang coaching ngayon na kino-coach mo na naglo-low carb na din.
Low carb.
Pwede mo siyang i-greet.
Shout out pala kay Grit na kay Ma'am Philly. Nalimutan ko
Ma'am Philly, naglo-low carb siya at nag-gym din siya. So, when it comes to improving your muscles, so you can do your exercises. Si Christian, sinasabihan ko na gumawa na ng kanyang sariling YouTube video para ilagay na diyon yung kanyang mga exercises and the routines na ginagawa niya on and off the gym. Kasi kung nasa bahay lang sila, so he can always go to the gym. Pero kung kapag naka-quarantine ka or nasa area ka na walang gym, you still do your exercises. So you mentioned a while ago, push-ups, sit-ups, planking. You also do planking. So yun, para ma-retain yung muscle. So when you don't do exercise, yung muscle mo, mawawala yan eventually because our body, yung kanyang way to preserve muscles is use and disuse. Kapag hindi mo ito magagamit, mawawala yan. Makikita mo na pa-flatten, no? Hindi na talaga siya ganun ka-defined. Pero if you keep using it, mas na-define siya. Kasi kami nga, kapag nagbo-boxing kami, immediately after boxing, parang talaga siya na-define. Natatakot ako. Parang lumalaki na ng braso ko. But it's okay. So when you are young, that's the best time to do some muscle bulking activities para because muscles will eventually help us fight stress even better. Mas madaling maka-adjust, 'di ba? Hindi ka sakitin.
Hindi naman.
Hindi talaga sakitin, no? And those are the importance of exercise. And I think the way I eat now compared to before, pareho pa rin naman. Meron pa rin mga caution list minsan-minsan. And then, meron pa minsan-minsan like the dairies. I will show you our food later. Pero when we started doing exercise, like since late January, never na ako nagka-allergic rhinitis. Never na ako naka-feel na mayroon akong mga kung ano-anong mga sakit-sakit. Except for just the post-exercise na mga sakit sa muscles, which is just part of muscle building. Di ba, Coach? At yun talaga yun. Expected talaga yun. And it's good. It's a good process, yung panakit ng katawan. And you know na after that one, it's part of the breaking the muscles in order to rebuild it.
Yung sabi nila na no pain, no gain.
No pain, no gain. And that's the same thing when it comes to our low carb and fasting lifestyle. Sa simula, merong a little pain, merong a little struggle, but it is just about mindset. The proper mindset, you will be accomplished. 90% of the struggles ng pag-fasting, ng pag-low carb, is just in the mind. When you correct it, yung exercise nga, physical pa yung pain eh.
Oh.
But actually, when it comes to our food intake sa lifestyle na to, yung struggle natin is actually just in the mind. Nasa isipan lang talaga natin. And when we correct that, when we accept that it's part of the process, mas madali rin ito. And one secret also, before you go, I want you to be friends with salt. I know, sanay na sanay kayo sa inyong bahay na walang asin, na sobrang matatabang yung niluluto sa pagkain, takot na takot sa asin for the longest time. And I think that's one of the struggles of your sister also. And also, that's also the reason why others are not very successful sa pagsisimula nila, because expect these side effects na on the first 3 days, sasakit yung ulo, manghihina. Yung iba, iinit pa yung ulo, mahihilo. And yung iba, parang nagpapalpitate. All of those are just because of electrolyte imbalance. And electrolyte imbalance can be because of many other electrolytes. Sodium, potassium, magnesium, zinc, calcium, lahat-lahat na. But the key, most important electrolytes there is salt. Sodium chloride lang. If you get adequate amount of salt, especially during those times na nagsisimula ka pa lang, you will maintain your electrolytes in the body. Hindi sila mawawala, and you will see na yung journey mo hindi ganon kahirap. So there is what we call as salt fix. So asin lang every time you feel like you're having a headache, sumasakit yung ulo, pinch of salt and then water. Nahihilo, pinch of salt and then water. Kahit maliit lang. Pinch lang. Yung gusto makuha mo lang. Okay? And it's also somewhat almost like unlimited. Of course, hindi unlimited yan. Pero you can never really take it so much. Maybe 10 times a day. 10 times a day siguro, sobra-sobra na yun. Usually, hanggang 5 siguro, maximum. 5 pinches, it's just less than 1 teaspoon. And we need at least 2 teaspoons of salt in a day. Minimum yan. Okay? So, it's already embedded in our food. But if you're choosing foods na hindi salty, so you might really need to take real salt. So, salt fix. Meron niyang book si Dr. Nicolantonio. Meron siyang The Salt Fix. And meron din siyang another book which we have here. It's The Mineral Fix. So, Mineral Fix, it's all the other essential minerals in our body, to which we will talk about on another time. So, kakain na actually kami. Sir, bago kumain, nag-chismis muna. But any question you want to ask pa?
So far, wala naman.
Wala na. Sige, kung meron ka pang tanongin mo lang si Inday. Alam niya kung anong isasagot dyan. Meron nga lang, pagagalitan ka lang nga niya kasi kapatid ka niya. So, yun. So, those are the things that you'd like to remember when it comes to starting your low carb and fasting lifestyle. And you also don't need to overthink too much. And most importantly, you have to believe that once you know how to do it right, you have to believe that you are doing it right. Don't overthink, don't think about the negative. Be sure na tama yung ginagawa ninyo and just trust the process. And when you trust the process, you will just see the beauty of this lifestyle na eto talaga could be the secret into you saying na finally, I am at the best health na status in my whole life. So, even if meron pa tayong gustong i-improve sa ating health, but right now, what we have is the best state of health that we've ever had. So, si Inday, di ba, nakita natin yung transformation na. For others, na ngayon pa lang siya nakita, others might say na, you need to lose more weight, or even ako, they want me to lose more weight. Pero what they don't know is yung nawala actually sa amin yung aming sakit. I used to have allergic rhinitis, I used to have a lot of allergies, maraming breakouts, and then si admin siya, yung 6 niyang sakit and 11 niyang gamot. So, the weight loss can wait. But the most important part is the health gain. So we should aim for better health. And then eventually, the rest will just follow. And we will look forward sa journey mo, and hopefully you can share soon your own journey at ipapollow ka nila sa iyong YouTube channel if ever mag-open ka na ng YouTube mo. Okay?
Thank you.
Okay, so kakain na kami. So maraming salamat everybody. And if you want to know more, if you wish to be guided, the mindset when it comes to proper low carb computation of macronutrients, kung gusto ninyo, although it's not really necessary sa mga meron ng sakit, meron ng high blood, meron ng diabetes. If meron na kasi kayong mga iniinom na gamot, so those needs adjustment. Kasi yung mga gamot right now are given according to usual diet na may kanin. But actually, the moment you remove those rice, the moment you remove those mga sugar and carbs, your need for those medications is also lower. Kasi nga, with diabetes, for example, the moment na wala na yung lahat ng carbs, lahat ng rice na yun, after that one, by the morning, you will see your blood sugar lowering down to normal level na para kang magugulat. So that's why if you will do low carb lifestyle, you have to do it the proper way with guidance, with proper mindset, because the benefits of those medicine can become side effects. Kasi nga, mababa na yung sugar mo, pinababa mo pa ng medicine, that can lead into hypoglycemia, and that is dangerous. We have low carb doctors available for consultation. And if you wish to be guided, we have a masterclass on LCF, Low Carb and Fasting. If you wish to know more about that, message nyo lang po yung admins natin and our official page for enrollment only. For enrollment lang tayo ngayon. Si LCF Masterclass by yours truly, Josephine Grace Rojo. So maraming salamat po, and see you sa lahat ng gustong pumunta and naka-register na sa ating meet and greet this March 27 in Pasig. Sayang wala ka na dito, makikita ka sana nila. So I'll see you then. I think meron pa tayong few more slots available which we will close na soon. And if you wish to know more, meron lang yung mga admins natin. We have Admin Cha and Admin Angela. So for those who wish to be a part of that meet and greet, I'll see you on March 27. And maraming salamat everybody. May you have a very happy Sunday. And if you wish to know more, just message us. And always remember to stay low carb so that we all stay safe. Bye-bye. Hi, bye.